All right, everybody. This is going to sound difficult to believe, but I am making a video about my quote-unquote, alien abduction experience, which recently befell me on the 7th of January 2024. I am making this recording on the 8th of January 2024, and it's going to be difficult to prove or maybe to stress what a strange experience this has been, especially given that I have had many fictional readings and otherwise weird stuff on this channel already, so some of you may perhaps rightly be taking me with a grain of salt, but nevertheless I must record this experience somehow and share it with people just because it was so strange. Yes, everybody, I was quote-unquote abducted by or had an experience that's very similar to an alien abduction, but of course there's a caveat: it was a dream. But there's a caveat to the caveat: it was a dream unlike almost any other I have had in living memory. So before we get going, I just want you to like this video, leave a comment, and just listen to it until the end. Make up your own mind. Let me know if you've had similar experiences. But before starting, there's also something very important. You have to subscribe and click the goddamn bell icon. For some reason, YouTube makes it mandatory for you to click the goddamn little fucking bell icon. So ring that bell, back up to it, hit that thing. So together we beat the algorithm. Also, if you know what I have been doing and if you like it, please consider supporting me on Buy Me a Coffee, Patreon, or get some CM Kozman merchandise from the merch store. The links are all below. So, if this is the first video you're watching on this channel, let me introduce myself a little. I am CM Kozeman. I am an author, artist, and an eccentric person of some repute. Maybe you have heard me through my weird future science fiction book called All Tomorrows, so you will know that I'm pretty well versed with sci-fi literature and stuff about paranormal events and Forteana in general, let us say. And for basically more than 15 years, I have been keeping extensive records of my dreams. So I am not a stranger to the world of dreams either. And throughout my record keeping, there have been a few dreams which have been really completely different from your run-of-the-mill dream experience. There may be many reasons for that. Now, for a lot of reasons, I can't describe a lot of those dreams. Some of them are just very private, and the others, I'm just saving them up for this amazing big new upcoming video on a field guide to dreams that I am currently producing. So let that sit on the side for now. But this recent dream which I had was completely unlike any of these. In terms of just sheer impact, it's maybe number 2 or 3 compared to 15 years of dreams I've been recording and cataloging. And in terms of scariness, it's just straight fucking up number 1. I mean, it really scared me, and I am sleeping alone most of these days, so I just could not go back to sleep. So let me just begin with my day a little. On the 6th of January, I had an opening of my art exhibit, and I just had a very rich social and active and dynamic day. Later on, I took a long walk and I had a big family dinner with my parents. There were also some arguments, let us say, and also all of you, I mean, I am no exception, all of you, there are lots of significant and insignificant troubles floating in the background of my mind, and these days some of them are more relevant. I can't go into too many personal details, but there are things that kind of trouble me, there are things that give me hope, so it's just like any other day. So I went back home at 1 a.m., okay? And then around 1:30 or something, I just, mucked around online for a bit and went back to bed. Now, from the get-go, I had a very strange sleep cycle. Normally, you kind of lose consciousness and you black out, and then at some point the dreams begin. Now, this time around, I wasn't completely 100% asleep. I felt like I was maybe 90% or 95% asleep. I was still aware of the room being cold, and there was also some windy stuff, so I could hear the wind in the background and stuff like that. And immediately I launched into a series of very, very realistic dreams. Some of them erotic, involving, people I know and stuff. Anyways, and so these dreams come and go. You dip into the erotic dream and you dip out. You dip in, I had these very vivid dreams of I was interacting with people, and I come back out. And, I feel like, oh, okay, this is like one of those semi-lucid dreams that are just so nice to have some days. But then on the last dip, okay, then the weird and scary stuff started to happen. So instead of waking up in a dream setting where, one of these dreams, I am interacting with this unknown brunette lady, but it's very realistic. And let's say, the interaction is flirty, let us say it. And in this setting though, the dream is set in the same house I'm sleeping in. I'm aware of my bed and the room, everywhere is dark. I can even hear the refrigerator doing its hum from the kitchen and little noises from the bathroom and stuff like that. And then maybe you have these experiences during total nightmares. And I've had nightmares like this too. So even though this is very scary, it's still not really paranormal at this stage or abnormal at this stage. I am aware of this sensation of something approaching towards my bedroom from the corridor of my apartment, okay? And I feel I don't know why, but they call this thing a doctor. A doctor is coming to treat me or something like this. Now it's a huge red flag, because in a lot of these alien abduction experiences that I've been reading about, sometimes the alien is disguised as a doctor, or there are medical procedures. But then again, counterfactual, if I've been reading about all these alien abductions, then it's obviously natural for me to dream about these things. So okay. But it's very scary. And then I kind of hear this figure or feel this figure. I can't see it. It doesn't look like anything. The most I could visualize is a sort of tall, rectangular, obviously male figure with rectangular broad shoulders. Maybe short cropped hair, and a rectangular head, whatever. But I don't see this. I just feel like the doctor is approaching down the hall, walking in this very realistic dream within a dream, featuring exact replicas of my bed and the house. I could move my hands around in the bed, squeeze the pillows and stuff, and it felt very real. I could look at my hands in the darkness, and they feel very real. At the same time, the fucking doctor is coming. It was very scary. Now, even in this junction, I would have said, okay, maybe it's one of those waking nightmares, or these, in Turkish they call them karabasans. And yeah, okay, maybe it's just kind of my brain's way of messing with me, because remember, I had an exhibit opening, I had a very nice social day, and then I did have some family squabbles with my parents. So maybe it's a kind of a response to those things, I could get it. Heck, maybe it's my own mind's way of punishing me for having illicit lucid dream hanky-pankies with these strange dream women in the dream just before this one. So okay. But then I feel this doctor character, I don't want to be treated by this thing. I don't want to see him. I don't want him in my house. It feels awful. It feels horrible. It feels really scary. And once again, I need to stress you, some of the videos in my channel, they feature me speaking in the first person perspective about weird science fiction stories. But God is my witness, this is not a story. I really had this thing. It's just scary and weird, and it's about to get a bit weirder actually. So then the doctor talks to me. I can't see him, but I hear him. He says to me, I need to treat you for appendicular T-rexitis or something. And I said, you are bullshitting, because there's no disease called T-rexitis. And I remember this name T-rexitis directly from my dream. And you say appendicular, but I don't know. You're bullshitting. You're fooling me. And even this ability to speak back at this dream apparition was really uncanny now that you think of it. It was like a lucid dream, a lucid nightmare. Well, then it gets a lot more nightmarish. So then again, I find myself in a room, okay? Transported to another room. I'm not in my room anymore. And this also reminds me of some of those abduction narratives. And then maybe, yeah, counterfactual. Maybe I've read a lot of these stories, so maybe I'm just dreaming about them. It could be. But so the room I am in is... So imagine this kind of whitewashed concrete room. I kind of get a sense that this is in a Mediterranean or Middle Eastern setting because the walls are not pure white. They're like beige-ish white. And in some patches the paint is falling off, so you can see the raw concrete under the paint. And then there's like some very, very fine, like reddish or brownish dust over some patches. And this is the scary part. I remember all of these because in this dream I could like move my hands around on the wall, like really look closer to them. You know, like I could see my fingers and I could really feel the concrete. It feels so fucking real. Have you had this experience where like you could like, in order to make sure you're dreaming or not, you just zoom into like the texture of the walls or just look really closely at the ground or like some, I don't know, like some furniture and stuff. And when these dreams happen, it always makes me feel really uneasy because, I mean, is my mind really generatively creating these in a sort of closed off memory space? Or am I really somewhere else, like some sort of extrasensory perception? Now, when it comes to these things, I'm pretty, let's say, I'm a realist, okay? I'm not an outright skeptic, but I'm a realist. So I evaluate all possibilities, and when I'm confronted with an unexpected or an unexplainable experience, I try not to get at a decision about whether this is real or not, but I just want to probe it with questions. So I don't know if you had these dreams where like it's so realistic, like there's a table, you could see the stitches on the tablecloth, stuff like that. Now when this happens, and this has happened to me like maybe 5 or 10 times in the last 15 years, it always makes me feel very strange because I feel like I'm having extrasensory visions and it's just too detailed to be like a memory space simulation. To such a degree that like I look at one corner of the wall, there's like some patch of like peeled off paint there. I turn around, look elsewhere in the room. I look back at that patch of paint again and it's still there. Fucking unbelievable. So the rest of the details about this room, the scariest part is there's no door or anywhere else I could enter it. It's just like 4-walled room and it's got quite a high ceiling, like so maybe 9 or 10 feet high or even higher, 12 feet maybe. That's like 3 to 4 meters. And then on the top part, there's a window that's like shaped like a low and wide rectangle, and through that I could glimpse the blue sky and the light is coming in. So I'm in that sort of a place, okay? After questioning the doctor's bullshit T-Rexitis diagnosis, I find myself in this place and it's as real as my bedroom. At this point I'm really scared, like what the fuck is going on? But I still get a sense that, okay, maybe it's a very realistic dream, you know. And if I wake up, okay, I just say I had a weird, one of those lucid projection dreams again. Okay. I mean, it's still a bit scary with the doctor figure walking through my house, but still, I mean, I could manage. Then begins the really strange part, okay? So on one of the walls, something like a silver rotating wire descends, and it's about the thickness of a pencil. And I can hear the doctor's, it's not exactly a voice, but I can hear his thoughts saying like, oh, just, sit aside, I have to operate on you, he says. And this snaky silver wire descends. It's got like ribs on it, like one of those, shower handle cords or something. And then its tip is like something like a dentist's drill, but wider, and it's got like a heavier part on the top. And it tapers to a long cone that tapers even more into something like a needle or a chisel. And this thing descends from the wall, either from the wall or that low rectangular window, I don't know, and it starts spinning. And as it starts spinning, it's like zzz, like a dentist's drill, and I hear this noise inside my head. Now, in my dreams, I hear some sound sometimes, but something like this sound, I have never heard before. It sounded like tinnitus or like ear ringing, plus this like weird buzzing metallic sound. I really haven't heard anything like this. Okay, counterfactual, I've read a lot about experiences like this with abductee phenomena, but I mean, feel free not to believe me, but this is like my honest to God experience that night. And the doctor's voice says, I need to operate on you. I can't see him, but I feel he is there with me, and this like weird snaky wire drill is descending from the wall. And I said, no, get the fuck out. I don't want you operating me. I refuse it. This is the kind of guy I am, by the way. Like, when push comes to a shove, I'm a fighter. Or I like to think I am one. I don't know. But yeah, so I refuse this guys or this things like desire to operate on me. And then he says things like, oh, you can do it yourself. Then, okay, now this is the really nightmarish part. This is a really nightmarish part where I felt like, okay, oh fuck, this is an alien abduction experience. I'm being abducted. Oh my. And I really felt scared despite like refusing this thing and whatever. So in this dream, I somehow feel compelled. I just pick up the drill and just plunge it into my head myself. I can even tell you which part I plunged it on. It's on my right side, on the right side of my forehead, slightly above the rightmost edge of my eye. So I like somewhere close to the frontal cortex, I believe. I just plunge it there, and as it plunges, God fucking damn, as it plunges, I feel the pain. And I've never felt pain in my dreams, like even in those weird dreams when I'm dying and stuff, you know. But there's such a sharp pain, and I feel like a kind of like a cracking headache in the dream. Now normally I would wake up, but I don't. Instead, the buzzing sound even gets closer. And have you ever had a teeth extracted where you could hear the scraping of the teeth roots through your skull? So it's like a kind of sound, and I hear that exactly as the drill goes in. I feel a horrible headache, and in this dream setup or simulation space or where the fuck ever I am, I see this really bright flash over my right eye, the part where the drill got in, and then I just plunge, twist and turn, and I see two very distinct visual artifacts. And these things, I fucking kid you not, I don't see them in dream vision, not even in lucid dream vision, but I see them as like visual artifacts. You know, like if you've been punched, you see a flash of light, or like you press your eyes, you see these weird things. So what I had two kinds of visions after this. First, in sort of like a very slightly light, complete darkness, I see two things like bubbles moving up. They look like glass, but also like motes of light. They're not very bright, but they're like dusty bright, if you know what I mean. And they feel like glass bubbles. And one of them is like maybe the size of a big tangerine. The other one is smaller, the size of a ping pong ball. And they kind of like persist in my vision like visual artifacts. They like slightly do this like round motion. And like, once again, this is not something I see in my dream or in my lucid dream, but this is like something, a visual artifact. Then the buzzing gets really intense, and I see the second visual artifact. This looks like if you tried closing your eyes and like pushing your hands into your eyeballs, you see lots of dancing patterns of light. So this is something like that, but there's a sort of crystalline matrix. I don't know if it's like crystals, lots of refraction effects, okay? And then in between that, there are like shimmers that look like little rainbows, like looking at the back of a CD almost, but it's like refracted and it has multiple angles. So this was the second artifact that I saw. And then I woke up, but I'm still seeing these rainbow effects. I open my eyes, I see my bed. I'm back in my bedroom. If I left, I'm seeing my bedroom, okay? And well, what can I say? I mean, I can't move, but this rainbow refraction effect persists over my vision of my bedroom. And then I got them, I don't know, like, whoa, then I can move. I felt like I was paralyzed for a bit. Now, remember, I went to bed around like 1:30. I wish I had taken more close records of time, but then I look at my phone, I look at the time, and I went to bed at 1:30, and it's like barely 2:20 or something. So all these experiences, plus the sexy dreams I had before, they were kind of like, they all took place in less than maybe an hour, or just about an hour, okay? Then I'm so scared and I feel so cold. I haven't sweated. That's the weird part. Usually after like intense dreams or even like sex dreams, I sweat a lot. Here there's no sweat, but I just feel really cold. Really, really cold. And I even had the radiator going, but it still doesn't help. It's still very cold. Now, at this point, I'm very scared. Like, I'm terrified to move. So I just lay quietly, because I know that if I wake up, I'll start thinking about the doctor or the abduction experiences again. Those like floating bubbles, I somehow thought they were like the eyes of a gray alien. And the last fucking thing I want, because I watched so many alien abduction movies and like read so many abduction stories, I was worried that I was awake. I looked at my phone, but I was so scared, and I was certain that if I woke up and the whole house is dark, okay? There are no lights anywhere. If I woke up and walked around the house, maybe this is another like realistic nightmare. Maybe I would see this fucking doctor, or heaven forbid, maybe I will see these gray alien shits again. So, goddamn, it's very scary. So I said like, okay, let me just close my eyes and try to get some proper sleep. In worst case, I'll just lie around, I just close my eyes and toss and turn. Fortunately, now I'm like 100% or almost 100% sure that I'm in like this reality, at least. Okay, I am CM Kozeman. But I'm very scared. I toss and turn. And there comes a point, I feel like it's like 15 minutes. I'm like, oh fuck, okay, I just can't, I don't know. I better wake up and like go to the bathroom or something, get some water to drink. So I wake up. Then I look at the time, it's like 4 a.m. So the entire series of dreams took less than an hour, but then I toss and turn for like in fear. I just keep my eyes closed for like what feels like 20 minutes. I wake up and it's 4 a.m. Obviously I fell asleep and had a dreamless sleep somewhere. Or is this a genuine part of the missing time experience? I just don't know. I just don't know. It's just goddamn. So now I'm in like full wake up mode. I get up, I turn on all the lights. I'm actually very scared. I'm like so scared. If I see like fucking little gray alien in the corridor or living room, I practiced what would I do, and I conditioned myself like if I see such a thing, instead of like freezing, I am gonna jump on it. I am trying to kill it. Like I will bite it. I will put my thumbs into its fucking eyes or something. That's how I conditioned myself. I even practiced like, so I got up, walked a little, and so the corridor has an L turn. So before reaching the L turn, I just practiced lunging at a non-existent little gray alien. And then I turned the corridor. Okay, nobody there. Okay, good. I turned on all the lights at home. I turned them all on. Okay, I just go to the balcony. I went to my laptop, picked it up, because no fucking way in hell I can't sleep tonight. I'm just gonna pull an all-nighter. So what should I do? I just picked up my laptop. I logged online. I messaged a few friends, and like I'm really had a fucking nightmare. I tried to seek some consolation. Then I just mucked around online a bit and I just relaxed. But I'm still like very scared, and I'm really feeling cold as well. So I did what any red-blooded male would do. I just turned on some porn and like I masturbated like twice, and I'm like, the first time it was wow, okay, gushing. Second time it was like very limp and painful. Not painful, but now I'm recording these details not in order to like be edgy and like Daddy Kozeman and shit. I really want this to go on record, cause like there's a great saying, erotic lust is the only antidote to the anguish caused by death. So if you're scared, gotta start playing, tugging and pressing buttons, flicking beans and stuff. Really recommend it. It really helps you calm down. I mean, this is no joke. So I have 2 hits of that. It's nice. It's like now it's around like 5:30, and then I just finally go back to sleep, and then I sleep. Now I have a good night's sleep, or a good morning sleep, whatever. And I slept until like 11:30, which is quite unusual for me. I usually get up at 7, 8, or maybe 9 the latest. Like if I'm like extremely tired, I get up at 9. But now I slept until 11:30 or 11:45. And I wake up, and the rest of the day I feel like I'm extremely tired. I just talked about this experience with a few people, and like goddamn, so I it feels like trying to walk in honey. Instead of swimming in water, you're swimming in like some more less viscous liquid. Time and like the day felt very like still and like thick to me, thick, milky. And I couldn't do much. I still took care of some jobs, my day job shit, my like creative stuff. I painted a little, that helped. I spoke to people online, that was nice. That was really nice. And so it was that sort of a day. I didn't really feel like myself. I don't know if that was a full moon day, but it's the night that connected the 6th of January to the 7th of January 2024. So that was kind of like a shit day, like a hangover day. So that's that. Then I had a normal day. I just had like a big dinner and stuff. Then I got better. I get I felt healthier. And then today it was perfect. But the only one thing is like, so the evening of the morning I woke up from that abduction dream experience, I went downtown and basically I went to my favorite Turkish ravioli restaurant, Sinop Mantı Beşiktaş. Just if you live in Istanbul, you have to go there, Sinop Mantı Beşiktaş. I had a huge plate of ravioli, Turkish ravioli, it's called mantı, with meat fillings, dusted with crushed walnuts and thick molten butter. This is really my comfort food. It brought me back to life. And then I went to a nice cafe and I had some coffee and made some drawings and stuff. And that was like a great evening. And then I felt like myself. And then today began. I did some work today as well, social life, work life, whatever. And now I'm recording this experience. I meant to record it yesterday, but I was just too scared. So there's my experience. Now, thank you for listening this far, and I just want you to know that if you felt something like this, please feel free to share it below in the comments. And I am personally gonna recommend this video to my good friend David Gautier, Rob Gautier, Spirit Talker, and to David Chase, Chace, and he's a kind of like very, very enlightened and talented UFO and abduction lore researcher. And I don't know what they will say, but what do you think about this experience? It's just my lived experience. Of course, in my realist head, I just think it's like a very weird form of dream, a very intense form of lucid dream, perhaps prompted by like the joy of my art exhibit opening, followed by the crash of the silly family argument I had. But it just felt so unreal and also so real at the same time. And I was scared that if I slept again tonight, maybe I might go back to this thing. I'm just very scared. And it does sound a lot like a lot of the abduction literature. It's probably like, because that thing always scared me and it's that fear filtering back to my mind. So I know it's the effect and not the cause, but still just feels very uncanny to relate. So there's that. What do you think about this whole thing? Please, I want this to be a very comment intensive video, so like write your heart out. What do you think this was? And I'm not even gonna bother telling you to support me on Patreon again, but if you do, you're very welcome. If you're a first time viewer, please consider subscribing again. And as always, life is stranger than we imagine. Have a nice day and stay safe. If you have nightmares, just please yourself. That's the best way to combat this thing. Don't take any antidepressants or drugs, in my humble opinion. Anyways, what am I saying? Have a good night and thanks for listening and bearing with me. Ciao.